Welcome. Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button and a bell below if you want to be notified as to when I upload more content. And by subscribing, you also help support my channel. Coming to you from Ghana country, and as such, I acknowledge the people from the Ghana people as traditional custodians of this land. So I'm just wanting to, I think I've covered this topic before, but it keeps repeating itself in my peripheral. So I'm going to talk about energy and frequency. So this can tie in whether you're an energetic healer, intuitive, psychic person, if you're using it for magic, for workings, clairvoyance, or even just through your day-to-day existence. I think it is rather important that we need to keep being reminded or keep in our memory that we are energy. Everything around us is energy. And by that, I mean we're made up of atoms, which is the smallest unit of matter. Yet inside these really microscopic units of matter are protons, neutrons, electrons, all vibrating at various speeds and levels and frequencies. So as they vibrate, this causes energy, or the frequency, as you hear people talk about. And as I just said, they all vibrate at different levels. And this is because nothing in our universe, our cosmos, is static, not even a rock. It may appear to be static to us from the outside, but like us, it's also made up of molecules and atoms and neutrons and electrons, protons, all vibrating, be it extremely slowly. So these tiny molecules, especially when they're more densely packed together, make something physical, something tangible, like say, or stone statue here. All made up of molecules, all vibrating. Very close together, very slowly. Or they can be vibrating huge distance apart from them, extremely fast, like this is where we get gases, etc. So I'm not going to give you a science test or anything like that, but I think it's just important that we keep in mind that we are energy, and all this energy comes from the cosmos. So that means that we can draw upon it anytime we want to. And especially if we're doing magical workings, this is the source from which we utilize our magical power or current, whatever you want to call it. So regardless of the density of the structure of form, energy is always changeable, pliable. This is the same thing with frequency, because frequency is basically the rate at which molecules are vibrating. This also means that everything in our universe is connected. And I think that's the point that people often overlook, that we are all energy, we're all tapped into this great matrix, to take a term out of a movie. And it can be likened to a great web of life that flows through us, around us, connecting us to every single being. And by being, I mean not only human being, but other beings, whether we see them or not, in this world in which we live, but also around the cosmos as a whole. And if you are familiar with what I talk about on this channel, you'll know that I often talk about as above, so below, as within, so without, the great sort of axiom from Hermetics that sort of connects, reminds us that everything is interconnected in our universe. We are all interconnected. And that means that we are all interrelated. And this is something that shamanic or indigenous cultures have always known, have always been aware of. And it's also something that earth-centric spiritual practices, especially those like the one that I follow, which is through an initiatory line, teach as well. This as above, so below, as within, so without. That reinforces this understanding of connectedness. This is also something that you can find in science, in particular quantum physics. But we have different terminology and different levels of understanding and awareness of this, and this whole construct of this interconnectedness of us. So, for a more modern culture, we may be familiar with the phrase like attract like, the law of attraction. And this law of attraction is one of 7 ancient Hermetic principles or laws of the universe, according to the Kabbalism. And this book, these writings, allegedly ancient principles, ancient, we don't know how ancient is, about self-mastery, personal growth, which is in essence coming back to gaining a better understanding of us as an individual and our place in the cosmos, in the great web of life. And then again, we're coming full circle because this concept is also about everything being interconnected. So I won't go into the Hermetic principles here. I'm quite sure I have done a video of them maybe some time ago. However, Hermeticism is believed to date back to, I know, at least the 1st or 2nd century Common Era. And that seems to, depending on some sources, makes it one of the oldest pre-Christian belief systems that is still being practiced today. It said that its writings were found within the Byzantine collection of writings and letters known as Corpus Hermetica, which is one of the core tenets of, I suppose, how we see the world, or how our connection with the world can be explained. Now, the so-called father, founding principle, person who sort of boiled all this together of Hermeticism, is accredited to having written this Corpus Hermetica, or aka the Emerald Tablet, you may also be known of it being called, is a person, questionable, by the name of Hermes Trismegistus. Some people say it was a mythical creature, so a combination of the Greek god Hermes, the Egyptian god Thoth, and as such, or it could be a sort of whole group of people who sort of piled their resources under this one name. But even ancient Greece and ancient Egypt are 2 of the more ancient schools of philosophy and magical thought that have paved the way, especially within Western traditions, including my own. However, I'm fast disappearing down a rabbit hole. So back to vibration and frequency. So I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever actually stopped and wondered what it truly means that everything is connected? That, as some people say, is the actions of a butterfly in the Amazon flapping, at least according to quantum physics, can actually manifest an earthquake on the other side of the world, China, Pakistan. How powerful is that butterfly? That merely flapping its wing can have that power. Is this too far-fetched? Maybe. They say quantum physics doesn't think so. We are probably familiar with cause and effect, especially of energetic transference. When a person, say, who is, say, in a bad mood, walks into the room, or we walk into a room where there's a fight, and we can sense that energy. We may have even been experienced that we may be in a bit of a funk and some random stranger has done some random act of kindness, even smiled at us, held the door open, let us go first in the supermarket with our one item. And that sort of perks up our mood for the day. This is all about energy and the frequency that it's vibrating at. And the same appeals or happens when it comes to healing. When we step away from all the fancy words and the labels and really look at what we're actually talking about or reading, usually it's about energy, frequency, vibration, nothing more, nothing less. Which means that what we're actually talking about too, on a deeper level, is the interconnectedness of things. Again, we're not isolated, we are connected with everything within our environment and the world around us and the cosmos. And remember that butterfly flapping its wings. The result that can effectively cause, without realization, butterfly doesn't know it's causing an earthquake in Pakistan or China. So what does this say about even the potential of our own actions, our own thought, the words that we speak? Because these are all energy. These are all vibration on different frequencies. Have we actually given much thought about the cause and effect that these can actually have throughout our day? I know some of us might be more aware of our self-talk. It does say that we tend to be very negative. So we've got that added to the mix as well. Maybe we should attempt to be a little bit more conscious, a little bit more aware, take a little bit more responsibility for what we are projecting out there. Maybe we should stop for a moment and actually consider the flow and effect, just like throwing a pebble into a pool of water. As the ripples move out, affecting everything around us. Is it affecting everything around us in ways that we would like them to be affected? As I said, this thing's connected. And we may just be like a minute little bug being caught up in a spider's web. But the vibration, our energy that we put out there can be felt all through the web. I'm not saying that there's some gigantic spider that's going to come along and eat her, but everything's connected through this web, including us in our thoughts. Certainly something to think about. Rage, yelling at that car in front of us, pulled out in front of us, made us put on our brakes. The little old lady in the queue in the supermarket before us who wanted to chat, but making us late for our appointment. Everything is interconnected. Thanks.